I'm Hallie, on assignment in Los Angeles tonight. And in just the last 45 minutes, we're learning more about the president mobilizing Marines. So we're talking active duty military here to Los Angeles. This is a big new escalation in the fight between the feds and the state over immigration raid protests. Want to show you here a live shot. This is where these protests are, how they look as we speak right now. Two defense officials telling our team about 700 Marines are getting mobilized. They're going to go to support the National Guard. Remember, a National Guard that the state of California says they don't want and they don't need here in this state. That's why California says it will sue the president for activating those troops. Now, President Trump says he had to take that step to stop protests like we've seen for the last 72 hours. You see some of it here. Access cut off to one big highway at one point. And listen to this. Flashbangs going off, sending smoke into the air. Here you see a squad car set on fire. You saw protesters lined up, standing face to face with police. We know at least 56 people have been arrested in the protests so far, according to police, including one top labor leader. He's making his first court appearance just in the last half hour, with more than 1,000 people rallying to support him here in LA late this afternoon. But you know who could be arrested next, maybe? The state's governor, Gavin Newsom, who basically dared the president's border czar to slap the cuffs on him. And the president is not exactly ruling that out late today. Watch.
Gavin Newsom he's daring Tom Homan to come and arrest him. Should he do it? I would do it if I were Tom. I think it's great. Gavin likes the publicity, but I think it would be a great thing. He's done a terrible job. Look. I like Gavin Newsom. He's a nice guy, but he's grossly incompetent.
So some of the big questions moving forward tonight. First, will there be more confrontations between police and protesters? Remember, over the last couple of nights, we've seen things pick up around 4 LA time, 7 out east. What will the president's next move be now that he's sending in these Marines? And what are those Marines here exactly to do? Will this stay contained to Southern California, or could we see those protests spread? We have team coverage here in LA as well as back home in Washington. But I want to start on the ground with our Jacob Soboroff, who's in Cypress Park, California. Jacob, you've been on the ground. Help us understand what we've seen today and the expectation for demonstrations tonight.
Hallie, there's a lot of fear in Los Angeles, and the tension remains really high in a city that is majority minority. 50% of the people in the county of Los Angeles, are people of color. 10% of the population of this county is undocumented by some counts, maybe as many as 1 million people. And so those folks who are, a part of the fabric of the community here are very, very scared. And that is why you saw people starting on Friday go out to the streets. You might wonder, what am I doing in a Home Depot? This is one of the first locations on Friday morning that Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents, other federal agents, showed up at and approached day laborers, people who stand on the street corner here looking for work on a daily basis to do menial, and important tasks at people's homes and in business places. And they ended up going to the streets, like you see on the left-hand side of your screen. But it all started in places like this. And why that's so unusual is that in decades past, under Democratic and Republican administrations, wide-scale enforcement efforts by presidential administrations and the federal government didn't target people who had no criminal records, who were workers, who were standing on street corners on a regular or routine basis at a place like this. And Tom Homan, when I spoke to him over the weekend, told me that's exactly the plan. Every day, he said, there will be immigration enforcement operations in Los Angeles. And the scenes you're seeing on your screen definitely are, I think, scary for a lot of people around the country, and certainly unpleasant for people in Los Angeles to look at. But I want to make a point that they are not the rule here. They're the exception to it in Los Angeles. Los Angeles is largely a peaceful city at this hour and at this moment. And yes, in the evenings, we have seen people go out to the streets and agitate against law enforcement. That is not uncommon in Los Angeles, whether it's a Lakers parade or a Dodgers championship or a protest of another nature. What's different is that the National Guard has been deployed to the streets of Los Angeles after immigration enforcement raids that start at places like this. And the president of the United States has taken that authority from the governor and deployed his own National Guard out to Los Angeles to what he says is support and protect the immigration officials that are on the ground here. I just want to give you a quick look, and I know we have limited time, but this is where it all went down, Hallie. Those agents came and they chased folks here on the street, undocumented day laborers, from the Home Depot here on Friday to this corner here and across the street over to that McDonald's, literally sending people scurrying, scrambling for what they saw as safety. And that's why I say it's terrifying to a lot of people here. People that are just going about their day-to-day lives, who are a part of this community, are having their lives upended in a way that I think it's fair to say hasn't been seen here on the scale that we have seen it over this weekend in a very long time. That's what's brought people out to the streets in a largely peaceful manner, but there have certainly been those agitators. And that is why, Hallie, the president has said he wants to put these troops out on the streets of Los Angeles.
All right, shalom and all praises to the Most High God, Yahweh, and His Son, whose name is Yahweh Shai. Hey, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kol Halo Yamla, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai. All praises be to the Most High God once again, Yahweh and His Son Yahweh Shai. Honors be to the elect elders of the nation of Israel that's laboring in truth and in sincerity on the four corners of the earth. Barak Yamla, Habayath Madawadah. Blessings to the house of David and to the Akim and Akwath that listen and believe on the glorious gospel being preached throughout the four corners of the earth, day in and day out. Unto you I say shalom. Shalom and barakathum. This is the Brother Sagalah, back with this lesson all through the Spirit. And I'm starting here after playing the video with the word gradualism. So this lesson is getting into the term gradualism. Gradualism, this is a gradual method of action. In abolitionist literature, as a disparaging term opposed to immediatism, so something that will be right now. So that's a difference with gradualism. Gradual, the word gradual is an adjective that means having steps or ridges. A step climb, a step towards something. So when you take one step at a time, that's the process of gradualism, meaning it doesn't happen. There's not immediacy. It's not something that happens quick, fast. And that's what the scriptures tell us concerning the coming of Jacob's trouble. Jacob's trouble, right, is all about gradualism. Gradualism. So it's for the believers to actually be able to see the prophets that are set up to give the vision, the seers, to give the understanding, and to prepare the people for Jacob's trouble, which is coming by way of gradualism, gradually. Now, this is Isaiah 32, and I want to get to a particular point. Let's see right here. Here's the point. This is Isaiah 32 and 10. It says, many days and years shall ye be troubled. So this also speaks to the point of gradualism. Once again, this chapter from the top is giving us the end times events, speaking about Jacob's trouble. The time of great tribulation is also known. And in speaking about that here, Isaiah 32 and 10, it says, many days and years shall ye be troubled. That goes on to say, ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. So it's speaking about many days and years. So there's been a process for us to get to even where we are now in prophecy. And then gradualism is actually pushing us to the time of Jacob's trouble. Like an example of that is Yahweh Shah saying this in John, saying this in the book of John, because it said, many days and years shall ye be troubled. John 9 and 4, I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day. The night cometh when no man can work. So many days and years shall ye be troubled. But the night is coming, it says, when no man can work. Do the works of Yahweh Shem Yoshai. And also, as it, pertains to literal work, well, we know the scriptures tell us that there won't be no work for Egypt, that the head or tail or branch or brush may do, no matter what your status is. So the night is coming where no man is going to be able to work, because through gradualism, that's what's carrying us into the time of Jacob's trouble. We are gradually entering into that time. Now, this process is gradually going on. It can seem like it's tarrying when we read here in the scriptures, but truly, this is the process the Most High wants to happen, because during this process, the believers are still awakening. Now, as things get more dire, you are going to have the 11th hour service and men and women that are going to be sealed. But throughout this process, the elect are awakening and the truth is going out to the four corners of the earth, as it says in Matthew 24:14. So now, this is going on by way of gradualism. Everything that's going on is happening gradually. It's happening at the pace the Most High wanted. And that's the thing we can't never do, which is hasten above the Most High, as the scriptures tell us in 2 Ezra, the 4th chapter. We don't want to ever hasten above the Most High, because everything is happening at his pace. This is Habakkuk 2, and I'll start at 1. It says, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and I will watch to see what he, speaking of the Most High, will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. So the believers are standing on their watch, and they are waiting patiently for the rest of the prophecies to come to pass. They're standing on their watch, as Habakkuk said, waiting for the visions to come to pass, to actually come to fruition. This is Zephaniah 1:12, and it shall come to pass at that time that I will search Jerusalem with candles. So what we just saw is the beginnings of Jacob's trouble. We're in the beginnings of that. And this is going to gradually get worse and worse. Different events are going to happen. It's going to make, these cities have to be shut down, for there to be sedition, and for people not to regard those that are in authority. There's going to be a disregard for authority more and more. So this is just on a small scale. Like this is like child's play compared to what's about to come. And it shall come to pass at that time that I will search Jerusalem with candles and punish the men that are settled on their leads, which means on their watch, that say in their heart, the Lord Yahweh will not do good, neither will he do evil. So a lot of Israelites don't believe that the Most High is going to actually bring forth the prophecies. So Habakkuk, the prophet here, Habakkuk, if you want to say it that way as well, is pronounced as well. And he was speaking about that, right? He was standing on his watch. So the believers are doing that again today. The men of the Lord, the elect men, are standing on their watch. Habakkuk 2:2, and the Lord Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision, the prophecies, and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. So the believers, the men that have been set up to teach this word, are writing the vision, or actually making plain the visions, because the visions have been written already, and making it plain unto the believers. And it says that he may run that readeth it. Jeremiah 5:1, it says, run ye to and fro through the streets of Jerusalem, meaning amongst the Israelites, and see now and know and seek in the broad places thereof. That's why we go out to the highways and hedges, to the chief place of concourse. Those are the broad places. If ye can find a man, if there be any that executeth judgment, that seeketh the truth, and I will pardon it. It says the same thing in Isaiah, the 55th chapter. Let's get that. Whenever it comes up in the spirit, we'll just get it. This is Isaiah 55. So see if you can find a man that seek the truth, and he's going to pardon him. Isaiah 55:6, seek ye the Lord Yahweh while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near. And the men of the Lord being out still on our highways and hedges is an example of the Most High's hand being extended still. That's an example of that. That's seeking the Lord right now while he may be found, showing that he's not going to be here. The men of the Lord, the prophets, are not out there for an open-ended amount of time. It's actually very limited. Isaiah 55:7, let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts, which would be the 2/3 and the leaders of the 2/3, the non-elect, the children of disobedience, those that don't believe, those that are not going to return to the words of the Most High, as it says in Jeremiah 6:16, we will not hearken. And let him return unto the Lord Yahweh. That will be those that are actually, in the broad places, that are actually able to receive, able to hear this word. And let him return unto Yahweh, and he will have mercy upon him, and to our power, for he will abundantly pardon. So we're seeking for men that have the men and women that have the eyes and ears to see and hear, and that are seeking for the truth. And it said it here once again in Jeremiah 5:1. It says, if you go and see if you can find a man that executeth judgment, because the scriptures also tell us in Proverbs the 28th chapter, the evil man understand not judgment. So ones that would have the spirit of the Lord on them enough to want to believe and actually seek the word of truth. So that's what we're looking for. That's what we're seeking for. Those that can understand righteous judgment, those that have a mind and a heart to believe. And them seeking the truth, the Most High is going to pardon the believers for actually coming back and seeking the truth. Habakkuk 2 and verse 3, it says, for the vision, which are the prophecies, is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Meaning every word that's in this book is going to come to pass. Many of them have already come to pass. When you learn and read and be able to interpret prophecy, you realize, well, a lot of the prophecies have already happened. So it says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Now, these visions, it talks about future events here in the NLT. And that future event that you hear the most about is this event here, which is the event of Jacob's trouble, leading up to the missiles. Great tribulation, Daniel 12 and 1. It says, and at that time shall Michael, Ka'ala, the archangel, stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered. That's the elect. It says, everyone that shall be found written in the book. So the elect, all those that are written in the book of life, are going to be delivered. So that's why the elect men are out actually doing the works of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua to bring forth the other believers. This is Jeremiah 30 and 5. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. So that's what's coming to Babylon. The voice of trembling and not of peace. Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hand on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. And who is the he? The he is making reference and referring to the believers whose names are written in the book of life. That's the he there in context. Now we're in a time here, and Salakia, excuse my dog in the background. I'm going to keep pushing. He does this sometimes. So Salakia, if you hear little groanings and scratching, that's my dog. Sometimes when I'm in here, this is when he'll try to come and get me to stop what I'm doing. Ezekiel 12 and 21. So it's just a forewarning if you hear more, or you might even hear barking here in a second. So it's all through the Spirit, though. I want to finish this lesson off through the Spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Ezekiel 12 and 21. And the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, what is that proverb that ye have in the land of Israel, meaning amongst the Israelites, saying, the days are prolonged and every vision faileth. We read about the vision before. The vision is for an appointed time, but at the end it will speak and not lie. So what are the visions? The prophecies, man. Y'all been talking about how Yahweh Shai, the Lord, is going to return for a long time. Y'all been talking about the kingdom of heaven forever. Y'all been talking about all these things, tribulation, and the economy's going to crash. A lot of our people don't believe. And we understand that that's to get the faith that hasn't been given to the masses. It says, tell them, therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, I will make this proverb to cease, and they shall no more use it as a proverb in Israel. But say unto them, the days are at hand, and the effect of every vision. Everything that the Most High said, the vision he's given to the visionaries, the seers, the prophets, is coming to pass. So those things are all coming to pass. And there's no way that anyone or anything could stop that. So this is the book of 2 Ezra 15 and 16. It says, for there shall be sedition among men, which is the overthrowing of the government, and invading one another. They shall not regard kings nor princes. And you see these small skirmishes going on. You know, this is going to be what Jacob's trouble is going to be like times 1,000. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. So great fear is coming. Ultimately, that process that we're going through, the process of gradualism, is going to bring great fear on the earth. You just wait till the economy crashes, this dollar falls, and it plummets to the point where the BRICS Alliance is trying to put something together. I was reading about it today in the month of July. They've been pushing to push de-dollarization. So as these nations are pushing that, eventually there's going to be a few different events that are going to happen that are going to cause this dollar to crash. And we know the chip is coming behind that at some point. So when people can't go out and buy and sell, and when there's uncertainty, a shortage of goods, the storehouses are not, full. People can't go to the grocery store, go to the store and buy things. That's going to cause a lot of chaos. It's going to bring a lot more fear to people. This is 2 Ezra 15 and 19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So the lack of food and great tribulation, chaos in the streets. That's what's coming. Let me get this and close it out. This is the book of Matthew. This is Matthew, the 24th chapter. For lack of bread and great tribulation, Matthew 24 and 12. And because iniquity, which is what evil doing, and because iniquity shall abound, meaning that's going to become great in the earth, the love of many shall wax cold. So the love of many is going to wax colder and colder. And that's what's coming in the time of Jacob's trouble, Yawam Tazar. So with that, through the Spirit, I'm going to end there and give all praises, infinite honor and glory to the God of heaven and earth, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahabushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. All praises be to the Most High God, Yahweh, and his son whose name is Yahabushai. Honors be to the elect elders of the nation of Israel, Barak Yamlah, Habayath, Madawadah. Blessings to the house of David, which you brothers laboring, and to the Akyam wa Akwath, brothers and sisters that also listen and believe on the glorious gospel being preached throughout the four corners of the earth. And to you, I say, Shalom, Shalom, Wa Barakatham, Dam Yad.